I'm probably going to get a lot of agencies fired with this video. I'm giving you a step-by-step breakdown of exactly how we generate high-quality leads for outdoor living companies, landscapers, hardscapers, tree services, lawn care, lawn maintenance, outdoor lighting, and home irrigation companies. Our system, which I call Google Ads plus integrated search, starts with Google Ads. Now, if you've run Google Ads before, you know the issues. You spent a lot of money. You didn't get the leads you wanted. You felt burned by your agency. Then you quit and tried to run the ads yourself. That didn't work either because Google Ads is complicated. The advice out there is all over the place. Maybe you hired another agency. You weren't happy again. I know how it works. If you've run Google Ads before and they didn't work, it's most likely because you didn't have the process and the knowledge that I'm going to outline for you in this video. Almost anyone can do this if you follow my process to a T. But most people and agencies don't know how to build and don't know how to optimize Google Ads. I know your current Google Ads provider is probably letting you down because my agency has worked as a subcontractor for hundreds of other agencies, helping them run Google Ads for their clients. I've seen the poor quality of work that agencies do. Now I actually train agencies on how to run Google Ads. So I know what you're going through. Personally, I've been running Google Ads for 23 years, and I've worked with hundreds of local service businesses before deciding to work exclusively with outdoor living companies just like yours. What I'm going to walk you through in this video is the exact process that I've developed over the last 10 years, the same one we use at Inbound Revenue. Not some vague teases. I'm going to walk you through the exact step-by-step process so that you can run your Google Ads campaigns as effectively as we run ours. When you're done watching this video, you'll know exactly what I know. You can absolutely use the training that I provide in this video to run your own Google Ads to generate high-quality leads and grow and scale your outdoor services company. We call our strategy Google Ads plus integrated marketing. We start with Google Ads because they target the bottom of the funnel leads that you need to build your foundation so you can scale your business. Bottom of the funnel means there's a high intent to purchase your service. They're not just searching for images or ideas. That's because these future customers, people you can sign today, are in your location right now, actually searching for the service you offer. If you're not running ads, you're not getting found, your competitor is getting those clients. Now, our results aren't magic. It's years of experience working with landscapers, tree services, hardscapers, outdoor lighting companies, and all that knowledge we've boiled down into a simple process. There are a few areas where you should have a little bit of technical web knowledge, technological capability. If you don't have any of that, if you're not technically sound, that's fine. I'm going to share with you ways you can contract that work out pretty cheaply, pretty easily on those particular areas that are a little more technical or a little more design oriented. Again, we view Google Ads as part of an integrated search strategy. That can also include local service ads, Google Maps optimization that allow you to essentially own the front page of Google's. Facebook ads are another way to drive qualified leads and work very well in conjunction with Google Ads. Let me show you what I mean by Google Ads plus integrated search. And why I created the integrated search approach is by actually taking a look at Google, which we're going to do right now. Search any bottom of the funnel keyword, such as tree service near me, which is the one that I used. You're normally going to see three things on every search that owns the first page of Google. So let's take a look at it. Let's break this page down. What do you see here? Now, one thing you don't see is website listings. That's why we don't do traditional SEO. We don't do traditional website SEO. We don't recommend it. We recommend the Google Ads plus integrated search, which is going to include these ads that you see at the very top. These are not Google ads. These are local service ads. This is a pay-per-lead service. Then that's followed by sponsored results, which are Google ads. They're triggered by this search as well. Then you get to the third element of Google Ads plus integrated search, where you own the front page of Google, and that is the maps. You'll see this first listing is actually an ad that you're running through Google Ads. These other listings are organic. These are people who happen to have managed to own the first 3 positions on the maps, and that's where you want to be. So if you're running a combination of local service ads, Google Ads, and you're optimized to show up at the top of the maps, you're going to own the front page of Google. It's only when you get down here that you start to get into organic listings. And a lot of those are junk listings, top 10, Angie's List, that sort of thing. I'll mention if you've bought leads before through like an Angie's List or someone like that, you know they're crappy leads. When you run our Google Ads Plus integrated search, these are your own leads. You're not sharing them with 5 other people. It's not a race to the bottom price-wise. It's not a race to the bottom to see who can get the, get the lead first and call them and close the deal. These are your own leads that you're not sharing with anyone else. Okay, so let's talk about the 3 elements here real quick. And then I promise you I'm going to get into the meat of how you build a Google Ads campaign for your own company. So to dissect this page, these are local service ads at the top. Local service ads are a pay-per-lead, meaning you're going to pay every time the phone rings. They can work really well. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, sometimes they take some work. It's just the way local service ads work. Sometimes you turn them on, you get a lot of good calls. Sometimes you turn them on, you don't get many calls, and you have to really play around with it. I've got a team that can do that. So you can generate a lot of calls or just a few, but either way, you're not paying for them unless you get a call. It is harder to get the exact type of lead that you want because you're being included in categories here. So the categories that you select are the, where Google is going to direct calls to you. In Google Ads, you have a lot more control because you have keyword control. So you've got less control, but definitely worth trying. Now you get down to Google Ads. They're found right below the LSAs. These are pay-per-click ads, meaning this person will only pay anything if someone clicks on their ad. That's why I'm not going to click on it. So you only pay when someone clicks, and it's an auction. So this company bid for this keyword phrase, tree service near me. They're willing to pay X number of dollars per click, and they know that if enough people click it, they're going to get a call, they're going to get a lead. So Google is constantly changing. That's one thing I'll say about Google Ads. So you need to constantly be aware of how they're changing, keep up with the changes. Otherwise, your campaigns are going to run behind and they're not going to be effective. Google Ads generate a lot of revenue for Google. And that's why they push really, really hard to get people in here. And that's why they push some of their recommendations that makes more money for them, less leads for you. Use the training that I provided. You're going to be able to protect yourself from the ways that Google takes money out of your bank account and puts it into their bank account. And Google Ads give you the most control. More control than LSAs, more control than optimizing your business profile. And then the third section is the maps. You want to rank on the top of the maps because most people are not going to hit more businesses. It takes work, and we have a very specific process to rank these. I'll go through that in another video, another day. I'm going to focus on Google Ads today. This is more important than ranking your website because you can see down here the first site that comes up is Yelp. It's not even a local website. Then it's Lawn Starter, which is not even a local website. And then we start to get in some local websites. So don't worry so much about SEO anymore. Focus on your maps and keep it updated with reviews, photos. Updates are super important. New reviews are super important. We'll work with you on that. So owning all 3 of these spots will smooth out the feast and famine that I know you encounter every season, every year, where you have busy periods, you have slow periods. But if you're constantly marketing in these, always be marketing, you'll keep a consistent flow of high quality leads coming in. And that's what we're here to help you do. I'll also show you exactly how we do this as we're going to jump into my step-by-step process for building out Google Ads campaigns. Okay, are you ready? We're finally here. We're going to walk through my exact step-by-step process to generate quality leads for your business with Google Ads. My process falls into 9 categories. It's research and preparation. It's knowing your numbers. It's campaign settings, super important. It's the actual campaign build, launching the campaign, optimizing, which is actually probably a whole nother video. Testing, we'll talk about briefly, and I'll discuss the concept of the landing page and conversion tracking. Now, landing page and conversion tracking actually have to happen before you build and launch a campaign, but these are concepts that we should have some discussion about, so I put them for last. So the first thing we're going to do is roll into research and preparation. So this is the very first category of things we're going to talk about for Google Ads. And this is first bullet point is huge. That is, what are your expectations for your Google Ads campaign? It's super important because I've sold a lot of Google Ads. I've worked with a lot of agencies who have missold Google Ads and probably missold them to you. One of the things you have to do is line up your expectations with reality. Any marketing is expensive. Any marketing is challenging. Any marketing requires some iteration. It requires coming back to the table with some fresh ideas. It requires trying this, maybe trying that, testing different things. At no point ever is Google Ads a spigot of leads that you just turn on and you immediately start to get high quality leads. I'll show you an example of that later on when we get into some of the tracking. But you're going to start out with fewer leads. Over time, you're going to get more leads. It's just the nature of the beast. If you expect to turn Google Ads on and immediately have a zillion leads a day coming in, they're all high quality, and you're getting your money back right away, you shouldn't run Google Ads. Number one, it's an investment. It takes time. Literally everything does. Going to the gym takes time. Building your business takes time. Working your relationship takes time. Google isn't different than anything else in the rest of the world. Set your expectations correctly. You want to do keyword research first to give you some idea of what keyword phrases you should use in your campaign. You want to know how many people in your area are searching for that. And you want to get some general idea of what it's going to cost every time someone clicks on that, because that's going to inform how much budget you need, which brings us to the next step, which is determining what your budget is going to be. I would generally say take whatever budget you intend to spend on Google Ads, and you're going to need budget for Google Ads for all the clicks that you have there, and you should look at it as a monthly budget. And if you hire an agency or a contractor, you're going to have to budget something to pay them as well. You want to have an offer that you can put in your ads. So you want to have an offer that you can put in there that is going to attract people to click on your ad and potentially work with you. And you have to think about where you're sending the ads. Are you going to send them to your website? We'll talk about why that's not recommended. Are you going to send them to a funnel? Or are you going to send them to a landing page? We'll talk about all that. But you have to decide these things in advance. Most people have a website, so they typically decide to send their traffic to the homepage of the website or to a service page if they have those. We send all of our traffic to landing pages. I'll explain that later on as we get into category 8. The last thing I'll mention again on research and preparation is Google Ads has built into it a keyword search tool, a keyword planner tool you can use to look up keywords. Just set your location, whatever city or county you're in. Type in some phrases that you think people would like to use when they're searching for what you do. And then look at how much search volume there is. Look at what the average cost per click is. It's going to show it off to the right. Knowing that if it's your clicks are somewhere between $10 and $50 a click, which is pretty normal, not every click is going to convert into a lead. So you have to figure out from there, oh, it's going to take me 5 clicks, 10 clicks to get a lead. So that'll help you figure out what your budget is. I'll do an entire video on that, but this would be a 3-hour video. if I included every detail of Google Ads. What I'm going to do is give you the high level of exactly how we build these. So number one is huge, research and development. So now we're going to talk campaign settings. And I've got a campaign where I can show you the campaign settings. If you have an existing campaign, you can just click here, brings up the campaign settings. Now these are super important, and I show you the things that we target. So when you build your Google Ads campaign, it's going to ask you about marketing objectives. We don't choose one. You don't have to. You can skip that and then just focus in on your conversions. Super important. This is the first super important setting. And I go over these settings because it's important to get these correct, or your campaign will be a disaster right from the beginning. That is the network. You only want to run on the search network, which is by default going to be active. Do not include search partners. Do not include display network. That's all you need to know. Do not include search partners. Do not include display network. You're going to have to determine what your budget should be. This money should be money that you can afford to spend and burn. It should not be money that you need to feed your family. It should not be money that you need to run your business next month. Your daily budget times 30 is your monthly budget. So if this was $50 a day, that's going to be approximately $1,500 for the month. So Google works with a daily budget, but times it by 30, you'll get your monthly budget. Always give yourself more budget than what you think. If you think $50 is what you want to spend a day, spend $100. Don't spend money that you need. This is marketing. It's going to take a while, a week, weeks, months to get this up and running, but you should be at break even pretty soon on even your average performing campaign. Okay? Next thing we want to look at is bidding. Start with manual CPC. If you opt for another option, another bid strategy, go with max clicks. I like manual CPC. I'll explain all the details of this in another video because, again, bidding is there's a lot of different approaches to this. The ones that we use at any time are max clicks, manual CPC, or maximum conversions. Manual CPC gives you the most control and is a good way to start a campaign. You absolutely do not want to have AI Max set on. Make sure that you don't have AI Max running. Okay, I missed locations. They're in here somewhere. Okay, it's down here under other settings. Okay, so locations, super important. You want to target not the United States unless you serve the whole United States. You want to select the city or cities that you serve. You want to select them. You want to include them. You may want to include a county, things of that nature. You have some other options, but just select the cities, the county, whatever area you serve. And this is super important. Location options. You'll by default be set to presence or interest. Typically, you don't want this one. Almost every local service business wants this setting. Presence, people in or regularly in your included locations. That's the one that you want set, okay? And then the rest of these are fine out of the box. Just make sure you turn off AI Max. Make sure that you set your locations and you set them to presence, people in or regularly in. Make very sure that you do not include the search network or display network. Select a budget, select a bid strategy. And that's everything I've got for you in settings. So we'll get on to the next section. The next section is the actual campaign build. And I'm going to show you this campaign because I've started to build it. The very first thing we're going to talk about is ad groups. A campaign is basically comprised of these things. At the highest level, it's an account. You set up a Google Ads account. That's different than your Google business profile. That's different than Google Analytics. It's different than anything else. You have to set up a separate Google Ads account. You create that, just search create Google Ads account. It'll be the first thing listed. Follow the steps, create a Google Ads account. Inside that account, you're going to have a campaign. We run search campaigns. Within that search campaign, you're going to have ad groups. Within those ad groups, you're going to have keywords and ads and assets. That is the entirety, pretty much, of a Google Ads campaign. So it's an account is where you build these things. You build a campaign. A campaign consists of ad groups, which consists of keywords and ads. So there's two different ways to build out ad groups. I'm going to show you those real quick without diving too deeply in. Now, I'm showing you exactly how we build these campaigns, but in this video, I can't show you every single thing that happens inside of Google Ads, or we'd be here for the rest of the night and probably tomorrow. I'll make more videos that show you all the details of these things. Let's go into a campaign real quick. It's one I've already built out for this purpose, and you're going to see two ad groups here. Let me just pull them up. Okay, now of course it's not showing me both. I'm going to turn off. I'm going to say all. That's a problem here, probably. Yeah, now I've got two ad groups. Okay, this one was enabled, this one wasn't. So we have STAGs and SCAGs. SCAG stands for single keyword ad group. They're my preferred method. A lot of people use STAGs, which is single theme ad group. The difference between these two ad groups is simply the approach that you take to the keywords. In a SCAG, single keyword ad group, it's exactly as I say, one keyword or one keyword phrase. Landscaping near me, landscaping near me. This is exact match, this is phrase match. Don't run broad match. Okay, so the alternative to that, a lot of people use is something we call single theme ad groups. In a single theme ad group, you build out multiple keywords, they follow a theme. So in this Landscaping Orlando, the theme is Orlando. So we've got lawn care services, Orlando, grass cutting, Orlando, landscape, Orlando, lawn maintenance, Orlando, garden maintenance. So there's a theme. The theme is all of these services include the term Orlando. Now, the reason I use manual is because typically you only have 5 to 10 keywords in every account that are going to drive most of your conversions. Second is everyone's idea of a theme is different. People are going to group keywords differently. They're going to group them together poorly. I've seen it all. Single keyword ad groups is simple. One keyword, one ad group, no questions. Nobody's going to screw it up. So that's that, single keyword ad groups. So in that, each ad group, you've got keywords and you've got ads. There's the ad as we build it. And then you saw the keywords. So let's take a look at ad copy real quick. This is super important. You're going to say where the ads go to, whether it's a landing page or website. In this case, I'm pointing to a website that we built, but we typically send that to landing pages. And then you're going to have headlines. You can see an example of what this ad is going to look like on mobile. There's another example. You could also look to see what it looks like on desktop. You can preview the ads here. But one thing that you'll notice, we have used the option of pinning headlines. Pinned headlines means they're always going to show. The way Google Ads work, these are responsive ads, meaning they can take any of the headlines that you've created here and they can display it in any order that they want. I always want two things to show up. I want a headline that's relevant to the search that someone put in. So this is a landscape design ad group. So I want landscape design in the headline. So it's relevant to the search term that people use to trigger the ad. I also want my offer there. So I pin that in headline 2. So you can see that always shows up in headline 2. So you're always going to see this. Every single time you see my ad, you're going to see this. Google doesn't like that. They give it a poor strength rating. I don't care. They're going to convert better. Then you include the rest of these. You should have 10 to 15 other total headlines. Then you can create 2 to 4 descriptions. Description is just 90 characters. It displays at the bottom. It talks more about what you do, and you should, put some basic things in there, your keyword, your offer, a call to action, that sort of thing. We'll get into assets later, but there's no assets that are additional opportunities to take up some landscape, site links, call outs, etc. We'll get into them deeper in another video, but keep it in mind, like write down, I need to create some assets. Okay, so that is what goes into ad copy. It's exactly how we build them. We pin headline 1 with a keyword, headline 2 with an offer. We create ad sets. And then once you've created that campaign, because we're running manual CPC, you've got to go back in here in your keywords, and you've got to put a bid on those keywords. So if you go into Landscaping Orlando, you'll see that we bid $25. We'll pay up to $25 for a click on any of these keywords, up to $25, not more than. So that's keyword bids. We put a bid on every one. We have to do that because we did manual CPC. And then sometimes you want to set an ad schedule for your campaign. So let's go up here. Here's our campaign. Let's go take a look at, let's make sure we've got that campaign selected. Okay. And then you want to set up an ad schedule. Ad schedule just says these are the times of days and days of weeks that your ads are going to run. You can run them 24/7. That's often advisable. You can also set up an ad schedule for like every day. I want it to be from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., that sort of thing. You can set whatever you want up for your ad schedule. Lots of times people do them around their business hours or when they'll answer the phone. You can also add these for Monday to Friday, set a different one for the weekend. So you can set these ad schedules up. That helps your ads show up at the time that you want them to online. Okay? So that's exactly how we run these. We typically start 24/7 because people are often searching and they'll submit a form after hours, but you can set them to your business hours, whatever makes sense to you. Let's go back and look at where we're at here. So we built a campaign, we set the ad schedule. We want to build out a bunch of ad groups depending on how we build it. We want to build out an ad group for every service in every city that we're in. Okay. And then we want to launch the campaign. When you launch the campaign, all we do is go back and look through everything that we set up for the campaign and make sure all the settings are right, make sure the budget is correct, make sure we have the ad groups we want, the ad copy, make sure that we're set into the landing page that we want, make sure our conversion tracking is set up correctly. So we use a tool called What Converts for conversion tracking. We're going to make sure that everything's set up correctly in here. And that's how we look at everything. It's just a final check before you launch. Launching is basically when you go in here and take this and say, I want to enable this campaign. Once you enable it, your ads are going to start running. Okay? Now, we move on to optimization. I'm going to touch on this briefly, talk to you just briefly about some of the most important things that you should do when it comes to optimization. And I'm going to pull up our manual to do that. So let me find our manual up here. So here's the inbound revenue manual where we outline everything that we do. After we launch a campaign, we move into optimization. Optimization is where you start to see the data that comes in and you start to massage it, get it in order so that you can get more leads. So there's a lot of things that go into optimizing a campaign. Again, this is a video that I'll create another day, but the number one thing that you should do, make sure you're adding negative keywords. Google that, add negative keywords to a Google Ads campaign. Number one thing that you should do, you should be recording all your leads. You have to make sure your conversion tracking is up to date. I can share all this in a document if you want to reach out to me. I'll share all this in another video in the future, but I don't want to keep you here all night. But this is exactly how we optimize Google Ads campaigns. And we start out, first of all, by adding negative keywords every day, Monday through Friday, and reviewing lead quality every day, Monday through Friday. We look for other things that are secondary, pausing keywords that haven't converted, pausing keywords that have spent a lot of money that are wasting ad spend, wasting your dollars, reviewing the campaign budget spend, reviewing different types of campaign strategies and bid strategies we can run, looking at day of week, time of day. There's a whole lot of different things that we do. We also use a tool called Analysis that can allow us to go into a campaign, run an audit, and see if there's any critical alerts, errors, recommendations, and then we can fix anything that's important in the campaign at that point. Okay? So optimization is something you're going to need to learn about. I'll do another video. I'll outline everything we do, but remember negative keywords. Remember, make sure you're reviewing your ads, your leads every day. So I'm going to talk a little bit about landing pages. There's a campaign in here I want to show you real quickly where we track leads to a landing page. This happens to be a website. It looks very much like a landing page. It has elements of a landing page, but a landing page doesn't have multiple pages and ways you can go off the landing page. A landing page is a single page for a single page with no links out of that. Okay, so let's take a look real quick. I'm going to show you what a landing page looks like. This is a landing page that we designed. I'll go into tree service. Look at enabled campaigns. I'll go to tree service. I'll just click on an ad. That'll take me right to the landing page. So it's going to take you to a landing page. Now you'll notice here, there is no menu. There's no way to get off of here. Basically, you have these options. You can call, you can fill out a form, you can read more. If you want to schedule now, you can fill out a form, you can call. We've set the headline so it's static, it stays in place. Talk a little bit more about what the company does, have some referrals, have an image. But if you want to, you can call. You can send in a form. That's all you can do here, and that's all we want people to do. That's the purpose of a landing page. Why a landing page? Because they're fast. They're single purpose. Your website is probably not built to convert. This is built to convert. We track this lead. We track this lead. We track them in a piece of software called What Converts. We'll talk about that in a minute. But that is the purpose of a landing page, and that's what we build. What's the elements of a good landing page? It's got a tracking number on it. It's got a form on it. It loads fast. It's not confusing. You can't leave that page to go to other pages of the site. You can't go to social media. You can't do anything but make a decision on that page, and then you can test that page over and over. Funnel is very similar to a landing page, but a funnel is basically maybe a 2 or 3 page step landing page where you fill in something like, are you interested in a landscape design quote? Yes. Then it takes you to a second page where it captures a little bit more information. You press, submit, and it takes you to a final page, a video or something. That's a funnel. It's just 2 or 3 page landing page. We use landing pages. You have software options. We use Go High Level. You can use Unbounce. I wouldn't recommend WordPress. It's not designed for landing pages, but use Lead Pages or one of the landing page softwares that are available out there. Now, conversion tracking is the last thing I'm going to cover here. Conversion tracking is a very, very, very complicated subject. I'm going to show you how we simplify it. We use a piece of software called What Converts. It allows us to track 2 things that are super important: leads and phone calls. We can track every lead and every phone call that comes in from the landing page. So any call or any lead that comes in here, we're going to track here in What Converts. It links to Google. It pushes that information back. Therefore, Google knows that this keyword combination, landscaping contractors, generated a lead, and it records that, and it knows that's a good keyword, and I want to keep using that keyword. So that's how we feed data back to Google Ads with conversion tracking. Now, conversion tracking can take in a lot of different forms. We use software to do it. I highly recommend you look at CallRail, What Converts, things like that. But you absolutely need conversion tracking. Conversion is simply someone taking an action that's desirable that you want to record and you want to push that information into Google, that feeds the Google algorithm so it can get you more of them. So anytime someone calls or anytime someone fills out a form, you want to feed that back. You don't want to feed back page visits, or you don't want to feed back time on site. You want to feed back forms, submissions, and calls. Use the software, or this is a place where you can find a contractor. Go to Fiverr, go to Indeed, go to Upwork, find a contractor for this, find a contractor for landing pages. Don't do the work yourself if you don't have any design skills or technical skills. We use What Converts. There's some other ways you can do it. You can manually drop conversion code on your website. Just to wrap up conversion tracking, it's complicated. Sub it out, find someone on Fiverr or Upwork. You've got a lot of different options. We use software. We prefer it. I think it's the way to go. You can also use Google Tag Manager, Google Analytics, or drop conversion code on your website. We also use a lot of third-party software. I recommend some of these tools. They may or may not be in your budget or useful to you, but we use Analysis. We use LeadUp to help us with negative keywords. We use PPC Campaign Pro to help with building out campaigns. We use What Converts for all of our tracking. It allows us to record calls, listen to leads. We know every lead that comes in for every client every single time. We use Go High Level for landing pages. You can use it for a CRM and other things. Personally, I use it for a CRM. For our clients, we just use it for landing pages. Talk about this section real quick. It's super important for you to know your numbers before you get into this, and especially to track your numbers afterwards. So a simple chart like this, where you track your monthly ad spend, you track how many leads come in, you look at your cost per lead. It cost me $83 a lead. I booked 12 calls, so I know it cost me $208 to book a call. Out of that, I sent 6 proposals. I closed 4 deals. I generated $25,000. It cost me $625 to sign a client, and I made $6,250 out of each client. These are the type of big boy grown-up numbers that help you run a business. Stop crying about your marketing costs. This is reality. We're running businesses. We're grown-ups. It costs money. It's never going to be easy. You've got to have a good sales process. You've got to track things in order to know. So these are the type of numbers you have to track. It's not complicated, but it's important. And finally, case studies. We've worked with a ton of landscapers, a ton of home service companies, some of them for 15, almost 20 years. We worked with a landscaper recently who went from that feast and famine cycle to a steady qualified lead flow. 50% year over year revenue increase because we just steadily kept those leads coming in, pushed the landscaping company to pick up their phone, respond to the calls better every day. It's one of my mantras. The supporting metrics we use is we try to get 10 to 30% of every click or every lead to convert. We have full funnel reporting on how many people clicked, how many people came in, what those leads cost. And with feedback from the client, we can also track revenue. I've worked in every niche you can imagine. I've been doing this since 2003. I've worked with med spas, e-commerce, plumbing, roofing, HVAC. I chose outdoor services or outdoor living like landscapers, hardscapers, tree services, these types of businesses, because I've worked with every niche. And this is my personal favorite. I just like this niche. I like the people in this niche, and it's the one I've chosen to work in full time. So you can do this yourself. You can take the information I presented here. You can do it yourself. You can watch some other videos as they roll out. You literally can do this yourself. You can hire some folks off of Fiverr or Upwork to help you with landing pages and conversion tracking. You can hire someone in-house if your business is big enough and you have enough revenue, or you can hire an agency to do it. Those are your options, really. What you can't do is not advertise. And what you really can't do is not get on the front page of Google with Google ads, local service ads, and maps. You got to be there. Facebook ads are another very viable technique, and we use them oftentimes with our clients. So what can we do if you want to work with us? We offer a $1,500 Google Ads Plus integrated search package. Starts at $1,500. So what's included? We can include Google Ads. We always start there. Local service ads, map optimization. or Facebook ads. We'll figure that out. We're always going to include tracking. We're always going to include reporting. We're always going to work with you on phone calls in Slack or in some other tool to push you to track your revenue, see how your sales process is, see how you're doing. Any help that we can offer. You've got full support of my team that is completely dedicated to people in your business. There's 7 of us. We're a small team, but we're totally dedicated to what we do. We're very experienced at this. We know what we're doing. We'd love to help you. Our basic price is $1,500 a month. That's a third of what you'd spend with a larger agency. Trust me, you'd spend $5,000 minimum with a lot of agencies in this space. Bonus is you get a free monthly strategy call with me. You'll get a discount on promotional materials, shirts, things you need for, yard signs, things like that. We'll give you deep discounts on those things. Other services like payroll, things like that. We have partners you can work with where you can get some discounted services. We're glad to help. Those types of things, we just want to help you get all the right connections so you can grow your business. Guarantee that I'll offer is we're going to have a 50% increase in tracked qualified leads within 90 days. I believe we can achieve that. I believe we can help you get there. I believe we can help you grow and scale your business. But even if you don't work with us, feel free to reach out, ask questions, follow me. And one thing I will mention is because of the type of clients we work with and because of our team and our processes, we take on about a client a week. So about 4 new clients are accepted a month. That's a true capacity constraint. That's not fake urgency I'm trying to create. I don't know if you can tell, I'm a pretty straight shooter. I don't do a bunch of rah-rah marketing stuff. We can only take on so many clients because we're trying to find the best clients, the best fit, and we want to be a good fit for you because we want to work with you for a very long time. So what do you want to do next? If you want to work with us, book a strategy call. Calendar should be below. Remember, we take on 4 new clients a month, and we work with outdoor living, green living type businesses, tree services, landscapers, landscape design, irrigation companies, lighting companies. And for those of you that are up north that need the help, we help you with, your snow and, ice clearing services in the winter and Christmas tree lights for those of you that are in that. So we work in those types of businesses. If you don't want to engage with us, that's great. Please follow me. Take the steps and the information I've provided. Build your own campaign. Do it right. Follow these steps. Get yourself some leads. You're going to grow. Your campaigns are going to be successful. Just feed them with budget. Follow the steps we've outlined. You will get leads.